But it's funny you say this, and maybe I shouldn't say this, but I'm gonna say it. After Devontae and Landon's rookie season, I think it was the second class game when we kind of like clinched a playoff spot, and I saw Jeffrey, and he goes, "Man, those Alabama guys, they're just ready to play, man. Why haven't you taken more Alabama guys?"
Certainly there's the word optimism, I think, comes up a lot, in regards to, and I think it especially escalated considering what went down 2 weeks ago with the draft, with the addition of AJ Brown. I think people are very optimistic about this team. All right. So the man of the hour, he is here. He is joining us.
Oh,
we appreciate this is the debut of Howie Roseman. Yes. The Eagles executive VP and GM on Sports Take. D Gun, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis.
Look at this crew I got to spend time with.
My man.
Now D Gun has juice to get you, Howie. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm going to tell you what. I'm never coming on again if I have to sit here and listen to about injuries and stuff like that.
Blame Derek. Blame Derek, Howie.
No, see, he heard what he wanted to hear. Howie, you missed the part where I said it's a season of optimism. It is.
Yeah, well, let's see what happens. We got a long way to go, man.
That's what. Hey, look, Howie, right out the chute, man. Will you put people's minds at ease? Because everybody's just ecstatic about the free agency, that your players you brought in, the draft, but people keep going back to, but what about safety and corner? How do you respond to that?
Well, I think, obviously, for all of us, for me personally, the best year of my career was when we won a world championship. And I just remember being in May and a lot of concerns about the running back position, a lot of concerns about the corner position. That didn't really go away in August either, right? And I think we're always going to come out of a draft of an offseason with some positions that people are going to go, well, I wish they were a little better here. I mean, the world championship team this year will have some issues right now. So we got to keep working. We got to keep finding it. Again, I'm proud of our staff. I'm proud of our group that we're in a better spot than we were. We took a down year, obviously an embarrassing year a couple of years ago, and we keep building and we keep trying to get back in a position where we can have that kind of fun again.
Howie, draft aside, personnel aside, I have a question for you, because you have a job that a lot of people in the city, in the country, in the world would love to have. You're the architect of an NFL
Careful
team.
what you wish for.
Right. Part of where I was going with this. Honest question. Do you ever sit back and just take a break for a second and say, damn, it's pretty cool what I get to do every day?
I'll tell you what, I've been so fortunate to be here for a long time, and I don't take that for granted. I know that I have a huge responsibility to our organization, our team, our players, our coaches, and our fans. And, every day I wake up and I'm very, very grateful about the opportunity, but I also know I got to perform. And before the draft, and obviously I've been fortunate to be with Jeffrey a long time, and he grabbed Nick and I and he said, how lucky are we that we get to do this tonight? And I had never heard him say that before, and I kind of turned and I'm like, we are the luckiest people in the world. And I feel very fortunate to do that. Now, there's a competitive part of me. I go to the Sixers game last Friday, and a guy's walking by me and my family. I got freaking 4 kids. At some point, come on, you can do whatever you want to me. They're already going to have PTSD from, the absentee dad half the time. And so, a guy walks by me 100 miles an hour, and he's like, hey, Howard, you redeemed yourself. And of course, I can't help myself. I was like, I'm sorry, the first world championship of all time. That wasn't good. My bad, bro. My bad.
That is crazy, man. You're going to get that, man. And, it's like a phrase out there right now. Howie Roseman doing Howie things, and you got expectations right now that they're probably, off the charts. But how do you feel as though, since 10 years ago, your communication with everybody in the organization, with the coaching staff, with the scouting, people in your office, how's that called communication? How have you learned to deal with that better, as in your tenure right now?
Well, I think you don't really understand the ramifications of a job. You always want a job, and then you don't really understand the ramifications of it until you sit in the seat. And then, experience is a great teacher. And I think because of all the people that we have here, what does legacy mean to me? Legacy means to me, one, obviously, let's try to get another trophy for sure first before we talk about more than that. But let's try to do that. That's really important to me. Very proud of what we've done here since I started. But the second part of that is how many people leave Philadelphia, players, coaches, certainly front office staff, and say, like, Philly had a huge impact on their lives and a positive impact on their lives. And so because I feel like I've been so fortunate to sit in this seat, I don't take it for granted. To me, how can I help the people around us? And listen, I got to make tough decisions. Like, that doesn't mean it's always happy-go-lucky. Like, unfortunately, the first thing we do before the season starts is basically, tell 27 guys that they don't have a job anymore. Yeah. And sometimes I got to make tough decisions, and people aren't going to be happy. Like, I'm not going to be not only all the time the fan favorite, but even in the building with some of the decisions we have to make to move forward. I think that's a hard part of the job. I think I've kind of learned, like, that's just my role. A lot of times I got to be the bad cop, which stinks. But I'm very excited about the people that we have. I'm very excited about the opportunity we have in front of us, and continuing to try to build this thing back and get the confetti to fall on our head one day again.
Hey, by the way, I'm coming to your office. I'm coming to your office. I'm gonna get a job with you because you are sending guys out left and right. You know what I'm saying? The high positions. Man. So hire me next. So I can get one of those high positions in the NFL also.
I'll tell you. It's a challenge. Normally this time of year, it kind of the foot comes off the gas a little bit, but you look at it, Joe D, AB, Andrew Berry, Kat, Ian, Brandon. I mean, Pat Stewart was named Vice President of Player Personnel. We lost Dwayne Joseph. We lost John Hill. These guys are 9 people who've left here.
Yep.
They're important parts of what we're doing. And so just like a team, like we had to retool, and we had that 3-year run. And then we took a embarrassing step back, and we had to retool in the front office side. You just got to look at it as an opportunity. Let's get some talented guys. And I think we started that process. We got a lot of good people that are coming in, and we're not done yet. We're still looking. So,
Howie, let me ask you about the draft, because I thought you guys had a really great Thursday to Saturday in general, but I want to ask you about Nakobe Dean and where you ended up getting him. Normally you kind of hear this stuff. You hear some of the whispers there, whether it's a physical thing or something off the field. Certainly not the case with Nakobe Dean. But did you have an idea that he would start slipping, or was this a surprise to you as well, like it was to the public?
It was a surprise. Quite frankly, like, I didn't leave our medical meeting feeling like, there's maybe an opportunity for this guy, where there were certain other guys that this guy may fall and we'll take him at the right place. It wasn't really a big conversation. I think when he was there in the second round, it was kind of like, all right, maybe it makes sense. Off-ball linebacker, never tested. Like, maybe that made some sort of sense. And when we passed him, it was hard. It was hard to pass him because of the kind of person and player he is. But as it got closer to the picks, and I think this happens a lot in the league, you kind of go, maybe I don't know something. Maybe I'm missing something. And so just kind of really, like, talking to other people, like talking to some of my friends who I knew weren't, in the vicinity of where we were picking, like, am I missing something here? And then sometimes you just got to say, you know what, like, it's just an opportunity, and don't overthink it, and don't out-talk yourself. And about 10 picks before, because I am superstitious, I just wrote down, like, no matter what we're offered, take Nakobe, and of course, because, everyone wants to constantly challenge me, and no matter what religion we are, I think there's a constant challenge. And of course, we get the best trade offers in the whole draft, like right around that pick, and it's there was no temptation at that point, no matter what we were offered, because it's hard to find people and players who make a difference. And I know this person's going to make a difference for us, and very optimistic that the player can make a difference for us.
Hey, Howie, for years people have chastised the organization. Why don't they take more players from the SEC? Your last 2 drafts, your top picks have been from the SEC. What changed in philosophy?
Well, it's kind of funny because, I went to school in the SEC. I kind of grew up watching SEC football and wanting to be part of that. Obviously couldn't play at that level, but I loved it. And I knew it was the best competition. And I felt like going to Florida and seeing that competition and trying to be involved with that football program, like, that's the level of competition. And, I think there was kind of this narrative for a couple of years. Those guys got beat up. And so they were coming into the NFL, like they were used up in the SEC. They were coming into the NFL with some medical concerns, playing SEC football. But it's funny you say this, and maybe I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it. After Devontae and Landon's rookie season, I think it was the second class game when we kind of had clinched a playoff spot. And I saw Jeffrey, and he goes, "Man, those Alabama guys, they're just ready to play. Man, why haven't you taken more Alabama guys?"
You're getting it from everybody, man. You're getting it from everybody.
And I said, you know what? I'm really like I'm my toughest critic, and I said, and I feel like I still feel like I'm growing, and I feel like I have so much room to continue to improve, and I'm going to do whatever that takes. And I think when you look at that, really, it's a little bit common sense, right? And we have a summer house in Orange Beach, Alabama, and my wife's grandfather, God bless him, he's 92 years old, still living, and he says all the time to me, he's like, what do I got to do to tell you to freaking take Alabama guys? I promise.
So you're getting it from Jeffrey, from your grandfather,
from grandpa.
It's crazy, man. It's unbelievable. Hal, I got
in public to like
Sixers games too. Yeah, you're right. Let me ask you about. I found the whole Kelce thing fascinating with Cam Jurgens, and he was talking about how much he loves this guy, reminds him of him. Says a lot about Jason that he's willing to be that guy for you, that sort of consultant, if you will. Yeah. How did that whole thing come about, Howie, and how did you land on Cam after all that time?
Well, it's amazing. We have a lot of guys who've been here a long time, and I've been fortunate to be with them a long time. And I'm proud of the relationships that we have with our players. And I feel like, players know players. And so when you talk to players, and I'm surprised Barrett's not really nodding his head, players know players. But, I think from my perspective, when, we have a lot of those guys, and we started to hire some of our guys, Selleck's doing some scouting work for us, Darren Sproles doing some scouting work, Connor's about to get another promotion here because of the work that he's done. And I know I got a bunch of guys in our locker room and go, I'm going to take one of those front office jobs.
Yeah.
They're coming. And so, I think, Kelce's always been interested in the draft process. And, he'd be walking by my office on his way to see Coach or Stout. And, hey, are you watching? What's going on? Who's good in this draft? And when he said he came back, he walked in my office and he said I was gonna come back, which I was like, I'm going to give you a hug now. Like, we're going to hug it out, right? And I was obviously very excited. And I said, what would be really cool? Like, I always looked at the Packers, D-Gun. I always looked at the Packers. And
everybody knows my business.
Yes, Howie, yes.
Howie, I just want, on a record, I want to go. The Eagles and the Packers are 1 and 1A. Right there. They're both.
It doesn't work like that. That would be like,
come on, man.
Tell my wife I got her and someone else.
Give me a break.
Anyway, so basically, I loved, Packers basically have had, and you got the right year. I'm not going to have the right year, but they've had how many? 25 straight years of elite quarterback play, right?
Yep.
And for us, the center position is so important. It's so important. And so I said, Kelce will be awesome. Like, whenever you stop playing, those shoes are going to be so big for someone to fill. But if they see how you do it, if they watch your work ethic, if they see how you're doing things, like, instead of them coming in and being compared to you all the time, you're gonna actually be part of that legacy.
That's right.
And so there are a couple guys we like. Love for you to watch them. I'm not giving him 20 centers. Tell me who you like. We're not doing that to him. We're basically saying, here are the guys we really like. And he's such a great guy. He's like, so if you took a guy kind of high, you'd be okay with him sitting on the bench? And I said, yes, because I feel like we're gonna get so much out of that going forward for him to be able to learn from you in person and see what you do. That gives him a chance to be a great player. And so, he had watched a couple of guys, and he loved Cam like we did. And he basically, Jason Kelce's working out all the time here, And Cam had his top 30 visit, and Cam comes to my office for a top 30, and he's like, I was just with Jason Kelce. He's unbelievable. Holy cow, that guy. It's like seeing the prettiest girl in the world for him. So it was really cool, and Jason was sincere in how he felt, and I just think it shows. I mean, everyone knows Jason Kelce, but I think it's sincere. Everything about Jason Kelce is sincere, and you see that when he's genuinely excited for us to draft an interior offensive line.
Another gold jacket guy. Yeah. You're right, man.
No question.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, man.
Howie, we know you're tight for time. Yeah, we really do appreciate a couple minutes
today. Thanks for having me, guys. Have a great summer. Can't wait to see you guys at camp.
Yeah,
yes,
thanks for diming me out, by the way. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Howie has as you would imagine, a very tight schedule. So him penciling us in there, and the Eagles organization, we thank them. And Derek, great job getting Howie, man.
Yeah, it's hard. People. I always asking when I've talked to him, I said, "Do you ever sleep?" I mean, when you look at the magnitude of the job, he's one of. There's only 32 of those jobs out there, and if you look at his track record in terms of wheeling and dealing and free agency, and so he's in that upper echelon in terms of what he does, and that's